The destruction of undesirable dharmas requires a dependence on many methods or gates. Some use words and letters as the gate. Some use contemplative practice as the gate. Some use wisdom as the gate. The Lotus Sutra refers to this gate of wisdom. Some use principle as the gate. It is through depending on the gate of the verbal teachings that you penetrate the gate of contemplative practice. It is through the gate of contemplative practice that you penetrate the gate of wisdom. It is through the gate of wisdom that you penetrate the gate of the principle of reality. To what do you penetrate through the gate of principle of reality? Teaching, contemplation, and wisdom all depend on the principle of reality. So if that which depends on principle are gates, then how can it be that the principle on which they depend is not a gate? Even though there is no place to which one penetrates beyond the gate of principle, it ultimately penetrates everything universally. Therefore, the principle of reality is the sublime and subtle gate. Now, relative to Swanson's footnote regarding the gate of wisdom, which Chih-i talks about as having been from the Lotus Sutra, Swanson explains that this gate of wisdom is a phrase from the opening chapter on means in the Lotus Sutra. He quotes the Hurwitz translation, which says, "At that time, the world-honored one rose serenely from his samadhi and proclaimed to Sariputra, 'The Buddha's wisdom is profound and incalculable. The gateways of their wisdom are hard to understand and hard to enter.'" With respect to the principle of reality, Swanson notes that, in a sense, realizing the principle is the goal, and thus different from the first three gates. But as the basis of the first three, the principle of reality is also a gate or method. Going on a couple of pages later, Chih-i himself says, with respect to the causes of Buddhahood, "One is able to manifest the truth of non-arising and employ the light of the true way to its fullest extent. Why? Cessation and contemplation is the practice, and non-arising is the teaching. Cultivating this practice by depending on this teaching allows one to penetrate and attain the forbearance from realizing the non-arising of dharmas, or anupatika dharma kshanti, which includes all the levels of the causes for attaining Buddhahood." The Vimalakirti Sutra speaks of 32 bodhisattvas who each explain their interpretation of the gate of non-duality. All of these bodhisattvas realize their level of understanding through the gate of the teaching of emptiness, with non-arising as the primary focus. All phenomena from the beginning do not substantially arise. This shows that the gate of non-arising penetrates the practice of cessation and contemplation and leads to the attainment of the causes of Buddhahood. This meaning should be perceived here. Cessation and contemplation enlightens the gate of non-arising. The Dharma does not manifest itself. It must be disseminated by people. It is when people undertake practice that the Dharma teachings are made manifest. The teaching of non-arising is made clear and unobstructed both horizontally and vertically. You have penetrating understanding of everything you touch, and you perfect the meaning of the teaching. This process of attainment is analogous to a person in this world who goes in and out of a gate. The gate evinces splendor in accordance with the status of that person. The subject of the analogy, that is, the teaching of non-arising, should be understood in terms of the object of the analogy. Realizing the non-arising of dharmas is Buddhahood. The Lotus Sutra says, "The Buddha himself dwells in Mahayana, and in accordance with his attainments is adorned with the power of concentration and wisdom, with which he saves sentient beings.